feet is not the same today. The tectonic plates of my life have shifted without warning. Everything I built my house on, sand it turns out. Not rock, not stable, not something I should have been adorning. I watched the stock market, I watched my health, I watched my relationships. I watched the carefully constructed towers fall. And now I'm standing in the rubble of my certainties, with nothing solid left to hold at all. But there's a book on my nightstand with pages worn and thin, and there's a promise in chapter 3 that says I will not let you spin. I'm standing on the promises when the ground is shaking. I'm holding to the word when the world is breaking. Every other rock is rolling, every other ground is quaking, but the promises of God are the ground I'm taking. Not because I feel them, not because the ground feels firm, but because you are the same yesterday, today, and forever. And that's the only rock that weathers every storm. My grandfather used to sing that old hymn, standing on the promises. I thought it was a sentimental song for old folks in the pew, but now I'm older and the ground has opened underneath me, and I understand what those old saints knew. They knew that feelings fail and circumstances lie, and the only thing that doesn't move is the word. So they sang it, not because they felt it, but because they needed something they had heard. So I'm singing the old songs, not because they make me cry, but because they remind me that the rock is still nearby. I'm standing on the promises when the ground is shaking. I'm holding to the word when the world is breaking. Every other rock is rolling, every other ground is quaking, but the promises of God are the ground I'm taking. Not because I feel them, not because the ground feels firm, but because you are the same yesterday, today, and forever. And that's the only rock that weathers every storm. When the waves came for Peter, he didn't have a Bible, he had a promise come and a Savior in sight. And he walked because the word was spoken, not because the conditions were right. I don't have Jesus standing on the water visibly, but I have the written word that says the same. I am with you always to the end of the age. So I walk on the waves of my shaking and proclaim his name. The ground is moving, but the word is still, and the word became flesh, and that flesh can walk on anything it wills. I'm standing on the promises when the ground is shaking. I'm holding to the word when the world is breaking. Every other rock is rolling, every other ground is quaking, but the promises of God are the ground I'm taking. Not because I feel them, not because the ground feels firm, but because you are the same yesterday, today, and forever. And that's the only rock that weathers every storm. There's a promise that says no weapon formed against you prospers, but right now the weapons feel like they're winning the war. There's a promise that says weeping may endure for a night, but this night has felt like a decade or more. I'm not here to pretend that the promises feel true. I'm here to say the truth is not a feeling. Truth is the rock that stands when everything shakes. don't know when the shaking stops. I don't know if it stops in this lifetime, but I know that the promises are not dependent on the stability of my timeline. So shake the ground, shake the ground. Take everything that can be shaken, but the things that cannot be shaken remain. And I am standing on them, not perfectly, not without doubt, but I'm standing and standing. I'm standing on the promises and the promises. Standing on the promises. Standing on the promises. Standing on the promises.